This is Hillary Johnson for Sign to Voice. Semester is fall 2018, and the story is called The Last Yellow Rose. Today I'm going to share a story with you that happened quite a long time ago about my girlfriend and I. It's a funny little story called The Last Yellow Rose in All the World. A little preface to the story is that my girlfriend at the time was quite sick. She was bedridden. I went to her house and saw that she was lying there with a blanket up to her chin, and she had a very high temperature. A bad fever, in fact. So I went to the store to get medicine to try to help her, but nothing was working. So I thought to myself, I'd invent a magic little story to help her. I went over and told her that I was going to go out, but I'd be back. But when I went to the store, I bought a single yellow rose. Before going back to her house, I nestled the rose gently behind my back in the waistline of my pants so she wouldn't see it. I went into her room where she was lying sick in bed, and I said, "Hey, I want to tell you a little story. It's called The Last Yellow Rose." She looked up at me and said, "Okay, I'm listening." So I began telling her my story. I went to the store to buy a rose, but alas, they had none. I went to the orchard and asked if they had any yellow roses, but I was met with the same response: "We have none." I went and rifled through the phone book, calling every place I could possibly think of, but to no avail. I went to the library and pored over books, researching until I finally learned that there was one yellow rose left in Africa. I thought to myself, I must get that yellow rose before somebody else snatches it up and it's gone forever. See, it was important to get a yellow rose to bring to my girlfriend because I wanted her to feel hopeful that she'd be better soon. And a yellow rose specifically symbolizes hope. That's why I had to go get her a yellow rose and not some other kind. Anyway, I told her I hopped on a plane and I arrived in South Africa, where I paid a hefty sum to enlist about 20 soldiers to help me find the yellow rose. We set off, packs on our back, full of clothes and camping gear, everything we needed for survival. We set off through the jungle. We were scouring a map, trying to decide what direction to go, but communication was difficult. We didn't know if we should go right or left. We continued on until a snake appeared, coiling around the body of one of our men, swallowing him whole, leaving only 19 of us to continue on. We kept going through the jungle until we found a tree that had fallen over a river. We used it as a bridge, but as we crossed over, the tree collapsed under our weight. 4 people falling, killed instantly, leaving only 15 of us to continue. It was a dangerous path, but we had to remember it was our responsibility to work together to find that precious last yellow rose. We continued on until a tiger appeared from the jungle walls. We ran in every direction, but one was not so lucky and was killed, and there were 14 of us left. We continued our search through the jungle, and then a bear snatched another one of us. The group was dwindling quickly, and soon there were only 5 left alive. We used machetes to hack through the dense thicket, until finally there it was, that single perfect yellow rose. So beautiful it brought tears to my eyes. I walked over to it, mesmerized by its beauty. I placed it carefully in a glass cloche and put that in my pack. I was ready to go back to America, but again, we had to traverse through that same forest with the same obstacles and predators, and one by one the men were killed off until I was the only one left. I got back on that plane to America. My hair had grown long, I had a giant beard, scratches covering my body. All I could think of was my girlfriend. We landed and I went to her house and opened the door and saw her there sick in bed, the blanket up to her chin, ready to tell her a story, and that is the moment where I grabbed that yellow rose from behind me and presented it to her. She was mesmerized, dumbfounded. She felt better instantly. In fact, the next day she had made a full recovery and we hit the town. In my opinion, that yellow rose did more for her than any of the doctor's medicine.